morning to all. In today's session, we're all going to learn about the entrepreneurship and its government policies. So let's begin with the definition of the institutional interface. This term is mainly refer to all those crucial elements or the points where the business, entrepreneurs, the project makers interact with the external authorities and organizations like the government agencies, industries, bodies, and educational institutions, etc., would not only set the rules but also provide the support services related to finance, training, and the permits, and also influence the operations and impact everything from startup to expansion point who defines the legal, regulatory, and the resource environment. Let's begin with the next section, that is the key aspects of the institutional interface. There are three main aspects. The first one is a regulatory framework which involves the understanding and also includes the law, taxes, the license factors, environmental regulations, and the labor laws which are set up by the government bodies. The next aspect is a support system where all the entrepreneurs who interact with the external agencies, it provides the financial facility or the financial support services like loans, undertaking services, and the technical assistance, skill development, and of course to access to the market. The next aspect is the actors involved. It includes the statutory bodies like the government departments, the developmental banks, you can say the autonomous agencies like EDI, SIE, SBUT, industrial experts, and of course the industrial associations like FICCI, CII, and the educational institutions. The next is stages of interaction. The business interface or interact with these institutions at the time of inspection or registration, during daily operations, and of course for the growth, expansion, and diversification. The next are the challenges and opportunities. A poorly functioning of the unactive institutional framework can also influence the projects, while the effective interface can also streamline the processes, the rules, regulations, which not only reduce the cost but also influence the growth as well of their business operations. These are the examples in practice, like for example for an entrepreneur when applying for a business license, they have an interface with the external bodies, they also needs the loans from the development banks like the financial institution interface, or they also collaborate with the universities for the research and development process. Next is for the industry. An industry association is also come up or associate with the government for the policy changes, for the inter-institutional dialogues, or the company who are engaged with the skill development programs. They also collaborate with the corporate industry experts so that their trainings and the skills would also improve for the youth generation. In overall, the institutional interface is a critical link between the organization and the broader institutional environment so that they can enable the activities which requires the active management and the strategic engagement. The next concept is the industrial policy resolution. An industrial policy resolution, or in other words, we can say this concept is a government statement which includes its approaches by the, you can say, towards the development of the industries with India IPR 1956, which plays a very significant role for the public sector dominance, state controls like the license, socialist goals. Later they have followed the another you can say resolution in 1991, which also denotes the liberalization, the delicensing, and the privatization, which increases the private industries or expand the private industries and the global competitiveness, while the state level industrial policy resolution like Odisha, which also aims to create the investor friendly environment for the regional growth. We have a key, the next section is the key industrial policy resolutions in India. The first one is industrial policy resolution in 1948. It is a India first industrial policy which established a mixed economy with a significant state role which allow the private sector participation but reserve the key areas for the government as well. The next industrial policy resolution in 1956, it stands a landmark resolution with a strong socialist orientation who classified the industries into three schedules. The first one, the Schedule A, it's a government-owned industries. The Schedule B is a mixed sector, and the Schedule C, it stands for the private sector. Ultimately, it aims for the rapid industrialization and the self-reliance. Next one is the Industrial Policy Resolution in 1977. It's mainly focused on the small scale sector or the tiny industries who promote the rural employment and you can say development and the decentralization under the Janata government. And the next and the last one is the Industrial Policy Resolution in 1991. It marked a major shift towards the liberalization, the privatization and the globalization, which stand in short LPG. It does always work under the license Raj, which reduces the industrial licensing and the opening up the sectors for the private investment, which ultimately includes the major shift called a foreign direct investment. Next is a modern state level industrial policy resolution. For example, Odisha, the main goal of this resolution is to create the attractive business you can say channels or attract the investment, increase the employment opportunities and reduce the regional imbalances exist in India. The next one, what are the exact features of the modern state level of IPR Odisha? It make the process more simple. The process of approval would be on in a quicker way. It also refers to quality infrastructure and increases the number of financial assistance support services and focus on the sustainable development. Now, what are the core objectives and the impact of the industrial policy resolution? The first one is the state control, as the early IPR used licensing and the reservation to have a direct growth towards the state developments. The next one is a private sector role. While initially restricted, the private sector role expanded significantly after the 1991 reforms with the ongoing policies which ease the entry of the new industry and promote the competitiveness. The next one is the economic growth. The IPR is also aimed to illustrate the industrialization and create the employment opportunities and improve the living standard of the people, which also aims to evolve to a state level development regarding the IPR to refer to a market approaches. The next concept is the micro, small and medium enterprises. In short, we can call MSME. Micro, small and medium enterprises are the key economic factors which is classified according to the investments in plant and machinery or any equipment and the annual turnover as according to the Indian Ministry of India. That is regarding the MSME, which set up the criteria for the micro enterprises where the investment is up to 2.5 crores and the turnover it's up to 10 crores. When we talk about the small enterprises where the investment is up to 25 crores and turnover up to 100 crores, but in case of the medium enterprises the investment up to 125 crores and the turnover up to 500 crores as per the recent updates. These enterprises provide a significant growth of the regional development and create the employment opportunities, not only influence positively about the regional growth but also act as a crucial suppliers to the larger industries. But on other hand they also face the challenges like funding the gaps and the infrastructure issues. What are the key characteristics and the role of MSME? The first one is employment. It creates the numerous job opportunities for the youth at a lower capital cost than the large industries. Next one is the economic growth. It also contributes significantly to the gross domestic product and promote the industrialization in rural areas or district areas, and which also ensures the equal income distribution. The next one is the support system. It also acts as a vital ancillary units for the larger organization, which includes the handicraft industries. India MSME classification as per the latest updates. The first one is the micro enterprises where the investment is less than 2.5 crores and the turnover should less than 10 crores. Small enterprises where the investment is less than or equal to 25 crores and the turnover should less than or equal to 100 crores. In case of the medium enterprises where the investment is less than or equal to 125 crores and turnover is equal or less than to 500 crores. So these are the major classification of the three main types of the enterprise as per the latest updates. What are the key challenges of the MSME? The first one is the financial constraints. It's might difficult to secure the loans due to the lack of collateral, complex process and the reliance on the informal credit. The next one is the infrastructure gap. It also refers to an inadequate power, electricity, the transportation facilities and of course the digital infrastructure. The next one is the technology and innovation. It also refers to a low adoption of the modern technologies which also hinders the competitiveness. The next is a human capital. It refers to a shortage of the skilled labor, poor training and development and the high employee turnover rate. The next challenge is the regulatory hurdles. It also portrays the complex compliance, the multiplicity of the laws and the bureaucratic processes. The next one is the market access. It also leads to a weak branding, limited marketing knowledge, and of course they also face the challenges for the global markets who entered into such a MSME category. The next one is the informality. It also leads to operate outside the formal systems which also limited access to benefits and support system. What are the key opportunities of MSME? The first one is the government initiative. It also refers to various schemes and programs for the credit, for the registration like Udam and the digital transformation. The next one is digitalization. It also refers to the e-commerce, digital marketing and the online platforms to expand the wider population. Next one is the globalization. It also refers to access the international market and export despite the existing barriers. The next one is the skill development. It is also focused on training programs to build a competitive workforce in the industry. The next advantage is a collaboration. It always work together to share the resource, infrastructure, resources, marketing, facilities, etc. The next one is a formalization. It also transit to formal status to access the formal finance and the legal protections. The next is the entrepreneurship. It also refers to a low investment entry point, which also increases the innovation and the job creation or employment opportunities. And what would be the solution? If the MSME faces the challenges, then what would be the solution of all those challenges? So these are the solutions. The first one is a streamlined finance. It also easier the loan access. Collateral free scheme is also being came up or introduced in India, and of course the digital credit is also the one of the facility where the thousands of you can say workers or the farmers who engaged in the mainly small, medium or large enterprises. Next one, it also boosts the digital adoption, which also increases the training facilities to be provided related to the software and of course for the digital tools. Next one is simplify the regulation. It also ease the registration process and also open up the single window systems for all those entrepreneurs who are engaged in these three types of industry. Next one is invest in skills. It also have a capacity to build and train, provide the training programs to the youth. Next is to improve the infrastructure. It leads to a better power, logistic and connectivity when they share the resources, technologies, etc. together. Support branding. It also develop a strong brand identities to compete to each other. As per the MSME 2021 to 22, the annual report, the Ministry of MSME runs the numerous schemes targeted at providing the credit and the financial assistance. It's mainly involved to a skill development training, infrastructure development. The next is also provide the marketing assistance. It also involved in the technology and the quality upgradation, and the last is the other services for the MSME across the country. So we now we have various schemes to study under this particular section. The first scheme or program called the Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, which stands PMEGP. The main objective of this program is to generate the self-employment opportunities by setting up the micro enterprises in the non-farm activities. This program is administered by the Ministry of the MSME with the KYIC as a national nodal agency. It's mainly implemented through the state KYIC directorates, KVIB, DIC and of course banks. those individuals who are unemployed youth belong to the traditional artisans and the first generation entrepreneurs like SC, ST women or ex-servicemen who get the higher subsidies. What are the financial aspects? The first one is the manufacturing project cost up to 50 lakhs. Service business, the project cost related to service or any sort of business, the cost up to 20 lakhs. Subsidy, it depends, like 15 to 35, it based on the beneficiary category and of course up to the location, whether it's rural or urban. The next one is the beneficiary contribution. It's typically involved a 5 to 10% of the project cost. Next is the process. It refers to all those beneficiaries who apply to banks either directly or through the sponsored by the agencies or through the KYIC route subsidy after loan sanction. The next is a mandatory training. It is mandatory to take an online entrepreneurship development program for the beneficiaries as well. The next scheme is the Credit Guarantee Trust Fund for the MSE, that in short we can call a CGTMSE. This scheme is mainly implements the credit guarantee scheme for the micro and the small enterprises. The main purpose is to increase the institutional credit to MSE by removing the need for collateral securities. The main mechanism is worked through the lenders, which called a member lending institutions, provide the loans to the MSME, and of course this scheme guarantee a portion of this loan, for example 75 to 90% depending on the loan size borrower category. If the MSME defaults, then this scheme compensates the lender for the guarantee amount, reducing the lender risk. Eligibility, both new and the existing micro and small enterprise are eligible to opt this scheme. The credit limit is to be provided up to 10 crores per borrowing unit. It also increased to you can say 5 crores as well. In total it could be 15 crores. Next is a guarantee coverage. It varies by the loan amount and the borrower's profile. For example, 80% or you can say for loan up to 5 lakh and the 70% for others or higher for women, SC, ST category or NER. It mainly implemented by the joint initiative, the Ministry of MSME and the Government of India and the Small Industry Development Bank of India, which called SIDBI. What are the key benefits of this scheme for the MSME? It access to finance. It enables the MSME to get loans without submitting any collateral assets. Next is it also increase the loan amount, where the credit limit is up to 10 crores, but it also increased to 5 crores. So in total 15 crores could also be increased for the entrepreneurs. Special incentives. It also refers to the higher guarantee coverage for the women entrepreneurs, for the SC and ST entrepreneurs and the units in the northeastern region. In short, we can also call NER. The next scheme, a scheme for the promotion of innovation, rural industries and entrepreneurship. The main objective of this scheme to set up a network of the livelihood business incubators predominantly in the rural or the underdeserved areas to promote the innovation and accelerate the entrepreneurship for the following reasons. The first, to generate the employment opportunities in these rural areas. Next, to provide a skills development programs or upskills or reskills for the unemployed youth, and of course for the self-employed, the wage earners, or using up in new technologies in the agro-rural sector. And the third one is to provide the skilled human capital in nearby industrial clusters or regions to provide the innovation so that it can build the competitiveness in the MSME sector. What are the key benefits of this scheme? The maximum of Indian rupees is 1 crore to the government agencies, and the Indian rupees of 75 lakhs to the private agencies for procuring the plant and machinery. And the maximum of Indian rupees of 1 crore to the government and the private agencies as the operational expenditure support towards the manpower cost or running the you can say incubation and the skill development programs and trainings. The next scheme is the Entrepreneurship and the Skill Development Program. In short, we can call ESDP. The main objective of this scheme to provide the entrepreneur culture and motivate the self-employment. To motivate the youth, it also represents from the different sections of the society, including the ST women, differently abled citizen, ex-serviceman, BPL person, to consider the self-employment or entrepreneurship as one of the career option. The next objective is the skill development. It also provides the technical and the business skills to the target group, which not only increases the entrepreneur mindset but also enhance their career success. The next is basic and advanced training. It also offers the basic and advanced entrepreneurship training to help the entrepreneurs to turn up their creative ideas into a real model. The next is support the MSME growth. It also assists in the establishment and the growth of the new MSME, which also improves the productivity and the job creation opportunities. The benefits of this scheme is to increase the awareness and motivation towards entrepreneur. Next is technical and the business skill development. The next is the opportunities for the vocational training, and the hands-on experience is also equivalent, which is one of the benefit of this scheme. It also supports for establishing and growing the MSME. It enhances the networking with the industry experts and the educational institution. This scheme is also have a potential to create the job opportunities and improve the productivity. The next scheme is a scheme of fund for regeneration of traditional industry. In short, we can call SFURTIs, FURTI. The main objective of this scheme is to cluster formation. It organizes the artisans into competitive groups for economies of scale to expand the operational activities. Next is product competitiveness. It also supports the design, the packaging, the innovation to improve the marketability. The next one is the skill enhancement. It also helps to provide the training programs and expose to new technologies. Next is sustainable employment. It also ensures the long-term livelihood for the artisans. And the next is the infrastructure. It also developed the common facility, the raw material banks, and the production units. The next is, what are the funding and support structure of this scheme? The government support, it's up to 2.5 crores for cluster with up to 500 artisans, and up to 5 crores for the larger clusters or regions. The interventions, the first one is a soft intervention with capacity to build awareness and the market promotional, its maximum of 25 lakhs. The next is a hard intervention. It mainly refers to a common facility, machinery, raw material, and banks. Next is a thematic intervention. It also refers to a specific needs like research and development, green energy, and digitalization. Next is implementing agencies, where the NGOs, the state and central government bodies, PRI, private SV implement these projects. What are the key agencies of this scheme? The first one is Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME. Next is a nodal agency, that is Core Board for certain sectors, and it is implemented by various bodies or together, including KVIC and the NIMSME. The next scheme is a scheme for providing the financial assistance to Khadi institutions under MMDA, that's called a Modified Market Development Assistance. This particular scheme provides the financial facilities to Khadi industry, but based on the calculation of percentage, like 35% for cotton, wool and polyester, and 20% for silk of the prime cost, like including the raw materials plus conversion rate plus processing, to boost the artisan earnings and market competitiveness. With the funds which distributed to institutions, sellers, artisans, supporting the quality, marketing and technology upgradation for Khadi products under the Khadi Vikas Yojana. What are the objectives of this scheme? It increases the artisan earnings. It ensures the fair compensation for spinners, whippers and the other artisans. It also improves the quality. It ensures the Khadi products and meet the market standards in the industry. It also build up the marketing opportunities. This scheme support the sales modernization and the computerization of outlets. Next, it enhances the competitiveness. It helps the Khadi to compete with other textiles. Next is implementation. It is implemented by the Khadi and the Village Industry Commission under the Ministry of MSME. And of course, it also implements through institution who can apply online, submitting the claims and utilization certificates. Now, what are the MSME Champions scheme? The main objective is the grievance redressal. The central control room for the Champions portal has opened up for the speedy resolution of the MSME issues. It also handhold and support. It provides the guidance in finance, marketing, raw material and the capacity building. Next one is the technology and innovation. It also promotes the modernization, wastage reduction and the innovation as well. The next one is a connectivity. It also links the MSME with the official banks and And the last one is the information hub. It also circulate the details about the all MSME ministry schemes through online portal. But these are the examples of the integrated schemes. The first one is MSME Sustainable, that is Z, for quality and the environmental efficiency for the zero defect, zero effect. The next one is the MSME Competitive, that is in regards to loan for wastage reduction. And next one is the MSME Innovative for incubation, IPR, design, and digital MSME. What are the benefits of this scheme for MSME? It modernizes the process and reduces the wastage of resources. Next, it also enhances the competitiveness and the national and global reach. It also access to technology and the skill development programs. It also supports to start up and expand the businesses with the potential for credit support services. Now the next section is the administrative and the institutional setup for MSME. The first one is a central level which called Ministry of MSME. Ministry of MSME, which formulates the policies and the programs for MSME. Office of the Development Commissioner, that called this particular apex body implements the policies through its vast field network. Who are the key organizations who are associated with MSME? The first one is MSME Development Institutes, which provides the technical, manageable, and the consultancy services. And the next one is MSME Training Centers, that's called MSME-TC, and the stations, that is MSME-TS. It offers the testing and the quality control. Next is tool rooms and the training institutes. It's mainly focused on tooling, design, skill development programs like footwear training institutes. The next one is a specialized institutes like IDEMI, the electronical instruments, the NIESBUD for the entrepreneurship training. Who are the key autonomous bodies and organizations who are associated with MSME? The next one, the first one is the NSIC, is a National Small Industry Corporation. It also helps the MSME with marketing, raw materials, and credit. The next one is KYIC. It's Khadi and Village Industry Commission. It also promotes the Khadi and village industries. Next one is the NIESBUD. It also refers to the national training for the entrepreneurship and the small business development, which mainly focus on the entrepreneurship training, so that new entrepreneurs would also join this industry, which leads to a business growth and development of the economy. And the last one is NIMSME, that is National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. It also leads to a management development and training. The next is state level administrative. It refers to a state directorate of industry which implements the scheme in states. Next is district industries centers, which refers to a ground level implementation of central and the state scheme. What are the key legislation and the framework of this particular scheme that's called MSME? The first one is MSME Act 2006. It provides a legal framework, classification and the support mechanisms. The next one is a National Board for MSME. It is an apex advisory body for the policy and the procedure advice. What are the support mechanism of MSME? The first one is registration. Udam registration for the formal regulation. Next is credit and finance. It refers to schemes like fund of funds. Next is technology and skill development. It refers through the various centers and programs. And the last one is the marketing and procurement. It refers to assistance through NSIC, public procurement policies and exhibition and fairs. The next section is industrial policy in operation. Industrial policy in operation includes the government actively guide the economic activities to increase the specific sector, which not only address the market failures but also you can say aims to achieve the national goals like job creation or the self-reliance using the tools like subsidies, trade barriers, research and development support, etc. As you can see, the Indian shift from public sector dominance in 1956 to facilitate the private investment and FDI, which through the licensing reforms in 1991 and the ongoing ease of doing business initiative through digitalization. What are the core mechanisms of industrial policy in action? The first one is a sectoral support. The governments also identify the strategic industries which mainly aims to provide the targeted support services like the tax breaks, cheap loans or infrastructure to foster their growth. Next is a market correction. There are various policies who address the market failures like support innovation, like positive externalities or cleaning up the pollution, that is negative externalities where the private firms wouldn't invest sufficiently. Next is the trade and investment rules. It controls through the foreign direct investment and set import and export rules to protect that you can say the transport industries or encourage the technology transfer in this industry. Next one is the infrastructure development. It aims to build the transportation, the energy, the communication networks. Next is a regulatory framework. It streamlines the licenses, reduce the red tape and set up the standards to create the business friendly environment. These are the examples in operation in India. The first one is the early phase post-independence. The Industrial Policy Resolution 1948 and 1956 established a mixed economy which mainly focused on the public sectors like steel and coal or strategic control restriction, the foreign investment. Next is a liberalization era 1991 onwards, which refers to reforms dismantled the industrial licensing, opened the various sectors to the private or the foreign investments, and also aimed to have a global integration which facilitates the growth in new areas. And the next is a modern focus. For example, Delhi policy 2025 to 2035. It shifts to the high-tech technologies, skilled industries, which will promote the clean tech, improving infrastructure, industrial estates, or simplify the processes called the e-governance and the developing the plug and play facilities. What is the concept of the limited liability partnership? It it refers to a separate legal entity. It is a district from its partners which allow to its own property and enter contracts in its own name. They have a limited liability, so partners personal assets are shielded. Their liability is restricted to their agreed, you can say, open investments in LLP, not the firm full debt. Next is perpetual succession. The business continue to exist even if past partners change, which is similar to the organization. Next is a flexibility. It also offers the operational freedom, and you can say which also less the regulatory burden than the traditional company under LLP agreement. No joint liability. Partners are generally non-responsible for another partner misconduct or negligence in its business. How it works. The first one is formation. It requires a minimum of 10 partners must be registered under the relevant laws like LLP Act 2008 in India. Next is management, which involves the partners to manage the business directly with their rights and duties under formal LLP agreement. Next is taxation. It also often the features which pass through the taxation where the profits are taxed at the individual partner level, which avoid the corporative tax. Next section is the association and societies and NGOs related to MSME. The first one is the Indian Industries Association, that is IIA. It is an apex representative body for MSME in India, working to create an you can say a friendly environment for their development and representing them before the government for policy formation. Next is the Federation of Indian SME Association. It refers organization which is mainly dedicated to unite all MSME bodies for better cooperation, policy advocacy, and build up the sector for sustainable growth. Next is the World Association for Small and Medium Enterprises. It is you can say a global non-government body that promotes the MSME on the institutional scale, collaborating with the United Nations agencies and the national organization to achieve the sustainable development goals for the sector. Next is Confederation of the Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Another major association was working towards the promotion and the growth of Indian MSME. The next organization is the Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry of India. A NPO organization that includes the numerous industry chambers or the trade association, playing a catalytic role in shaping up the trade, commerce and industrial environment of the country. Next is the Foundation for MSME, that is a cluster, that is FMC. It also conceptualized and you can say initiated with the support of UNIDO and the Ministry of the MSME, you can say, which mainly focus on the holistic development of MSME with the industrial clusters. The next section is the notable NGO and the support organizations. The first one is the NIDGE. It is an action institute that partners with governments, market, or civil society to build a resilient livelihood for the poverty-free India programs. Next is a Udam Learning Foundation, an NPO, the non-profit organization on a mission to make Bharat entrepreneurial, to unlock the individual, you can see, potential through the entrepreneur mindset and the skill development. Next is Saath and Ummeed, the NGOs mentioned in the government reports for their work in you can say imparting the skill development training for the self-employment, mainly focus on the micro enterprise sector. And the next is MSME, you can say Promotion Council in India. So the organization collaborates with NGOs and the social enterprises to promote the inclusive growth, which offers the capacity building networks and funding to the support entrepreneurship, which is mainly been in its mission. And the next is the government affiliated bodies. The next is the National Small Industry Corporation. That is the government enterprise that provides the integrated support services, which includes marketing, finance, technology, skill development to MSME. The next is the Khadi and Village Industry Commission. It refers a statutory body which promotes and develops the khadi and village industries to create the employment opportunities in rural areas. Next is Core Board. It refers a statutory body which is dedicated to the overall development of the core industry through research, marketing, and promoting the cooperative organizations. And the last one is the National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. It is an autonomous body under the Ministry of MSME that provides training, consultancy, research for the sector. Now, what is the role of entrepreneurship in MSME? It is an idea to venture. Entrepreneurs brings ideas to life, transforming them into the business realities within the MSME structure. Next is innovation and creativity. It also introduced the new products, services, processes, procedures which drive the technological advancement or upgradation and market access. Next is a risk taking. Entrepreneurs are the key risk takers, with starting from business, from startup to expansion, which cater to unmet social needs. Next is fostering a culture. They promote the self-reliance and encourage others to start their own ventures and build up an entrepreneur ecosystem. The next is the role of MSME in economic development. The first one is a massive employment. MSME create millions of jobs, second only to agriculture in many developing nations, absorbing both skilled and unskilled labor force. Next one is the inclusive growth. They provide the opportunities for marginalized communities, women, youth, ensuring the broad-based development. Next one is the regional balance. It aims to set up unknown urban areas where they can decentralize the economic activities and reduce the disparities. The next role is a GDP and export. They significantly contribute to the gross domestic product and increase the export, improving a nation trade balance. The next one is the ancillary support. They act as a vital supplier and service provider to larger industry which complement the overall industrial structure. The next one is the poverty alleviation. By generating a local income, they help to lift the communities out of the poverty. What are the key roles of government? The first one is the policy and framework. It formulates the policies like the MSME Act for the faster registration and create a support ecosystem for entrepreneurship. The next one is the financial support. It provides the credit flow through schemes like the various schemes like the Credit Guarantee Fund for collateral free loans. It also offers the subsidies, the interest subventions like Yuva Udyam Vikas Abhiyan and seed funding that is called Startup India. Next one is the skill development and capacity building. It also aims to equip the workforce with industry with reference to relevant training and programs like Skill India. Next, it also offers the modern management practices and quality certification support. The next factor is the infrastructure and technology. It also refers to develop the integrated infrastructure and modern testing facility and support the technology upgradation and modernization. Market access. It helps to assist with access to domestic and export market through various initiatives like trade fairs and promoting local products. Next is innovation and entrepreneurship promotion. It's nurture the new business that's called Startup India and PMEGP, and it also promote the rural and khadi industries. The next is the regulatory ease. It streamlines the processes such as rapid business registration within the 72 hours in some states. And the last one is the welfare and security. It aims to provide the social security like Udham Bima for disaster relief and welfare for artisans. There are various examples of initiatives in India. The first one is a Udham registration portal for easier business registration. The Prime Minister Vishwakarma that is supporting the traditional artisans. The third one is the MPEGP Prime Minister Employment Generation Program for the self-employment. Next is the scheme for the fund for regeneration of traditional industry for the cluster development where the particular this schemes new entrepreneurs would also use in different location and regions. Next is a Startup India for fostering the innovation and startups. The next is supports. What are the support needs for the MSME? The first one is the financial support. It simplified the loan process, collateral free option and subsidized credit and working capital assistance. Next is technology and digitalization. It aims to access the affordable technology, training in digital tools and support for automation purposes. The next is a skill development. It refers to a training programs for modern skills, technical skills and the professional management. Next is the regulatory reforms. It streamline the compliances, simple the tax and labor laws, and faster the processes. And the last is infrastructure, infrastructure development, which aims to improve the basic infrastructure and access to modern facility. The next is marketing and market leakages. It also aims to assist with branding, market intelligence, the e-commerce platforms, and connect to the global value chain. And the last one is the policy stability. It helps to conduct a consistent government policies to reduce the uncertainties or uncertain events. So in this particular, you can see the support needs where the financial needs, infrastructure development needs, marketing needs, policy stable needs, which not only helps the overall market structure but also helps to various industries like khadi, handicraft, textile industries, which always applies the government policies and rules so that it will reduce the uncertainties and the unfair trade practices that exist in India or the overall global market. Where we can also say that policy stability is also the one of the one of the main support element which which not only includes the government policies but it also includes the tax compliances, which also reduce the wastage of resources, the labor force which always means exist in this industry. It also helps the marketing strategies which also aims to build up the you can say a framework for the branding, for the market intelligence, the e-commerce platform, and how it aims to connect with the global value chain, and ultimately this government support and the industrial support or the private players which always plays a very significant role together to provide the support services to all those entrepreneurs who always aims to enter with its creative idea and transform into a new venture in this industry. That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening this lecture. I will come up to a more and more interesting, relevant and important topics in the upcoming session. So till time, thank you and namaste to all.